स्वयंसेवक्स, well-wishers, family members of स्वयंसेवक्स. So for all of us, Rangariji was our elder, our friend, our guide. So he was, I think, playing many roles and of course always inspiring us to understand what we want to do, what we can do and how we can do. So, and he was always available to us. So when I was sitting there, I was thinking, but we are not lucky because there is some God's plans also. I was thinking in the centenary year I will be sitting there and Rangahariji will be explaining us about the new topics for next centuries. But always God's plan will be different and we have to accept. So I pay my respect to Rangahariji's memory, and he can be called as a Rushitulya, like Rishis. So I think that can be a better word for him. And so he was having a lot of knowledge, but very simple. So there is, in Sanskrit we say, Vidya Vinayena Shobhate. So actually that was very much applicable to Rangahariji. And so his quality was he could discuss with a common man, and equally he could discuss on very high level intellectual topics with any intellectuals. So his range was very wide. From common man to highly intellectual topics he will discuss. And of course, for long years, I was asking Shashi Dadanji that for how long years he was lucky to have the company or guidance of Rangahariji. So he told me that in 1983 when he became Pracharak, and from almost more than 42 years, so last year, so more than 40 years he got the company guidance. So I think not only the Kerala, but I have seen him in Nagpur when there was, he was preparing the Guruji's full literature. So he was there in Nagpur for almost 1.5 years. So in those days, we have seen him very regularly, how he works. He will be doing very serious work daytime, but evening and morning he will be always free to discuss so many things. So we are lucky that we got contact in RSS Sangha, and we are lucky to have people like Rangahariji in our life. So I think definitely his memories will inspire us to do more and more work, more and more good work as he was expecting from us. So, and he will be definitely would have been happy that in centenary year, really we have reached out to so many people, new people, and so many all people from all sections we are trying to reach, and we are getting a huge response from the society. So he would have been happy, and so we'll continue to take the message to most of the people. So I was thinking on the today's topic. So I was going through Sri Guruji's writings. So in Sri Guruji Golwalkarji's writing, he was always talking about the Rashtra. And he was in all his speeches, he was trying to explain what is Rashtra. I was thinking why he was explaining about the Rashtra. Then I realized because for long years people were misinformed about our nation or about our Rashtra. Concept of Rashtra and nation was misinterpreted. And for almost 600 to 700 years, it was either Islamic invaders or it was British rule. And so every time people were experiencing a very different type of rulers, those who were not friendly, always exploiting. And so generation after generation, they could not have an experience of very good rulers or good state. And so they got lot of misconceptions and deliberately manufactured interpretations or Western experiences were transferred to our generation through the academic knowledge, our academic institutions. And so when you are not clear about the Rashtra, then how the people in the Rashtra, how they can behave, what is expected from them. Generally, it is important, as Dr. Hedgewar, who founded the RSS, he was very keen on the responsibility of the common people. And he believed that only few persons, few so intellectuals or top leaders, they can't bring a change. To bring a change, to strengthen the Rashtra, we require that common man, every person in that Rashtra, they should come forward. They should realize their role and they should come forward. And so for that, this special process of Shakhas in Rashtriya Swayamsevak Sangha he initiated. So he was also keen on the role of the common man. And so we can say nowadays we can say Nagarik, citizen. So all of them were working to explain the Rashtra. So it was very much needed that people should be very clear about Rashtra. When they have the clear idea about Rashtra, then only they can find their relationship with the Rashtra. If Rashtra is only the political entity, then they cannot find a proper relationship. Then it will be like a contract. Their relationship, some responsibility they are given to the state or nation state, and they have, otherwise they are free. They have no responsibility. So, if the model is state-centric, then there will be different type of responsibilities with the common people. And when Rashtra is made by the people, then there will be a different role, realization of a different role for every citizen, for every common man in any Rashtra. And so, see, Guruji was always explaining about the Rashtra that our concept about the Rashtra is not, be comfortable, is not political, it's a cultural idea. And so we have a very deep relationship with our Rashtra. Very deep relationship. It is not just a political relationship, nowadays people call just a relationship because of the constitution. No. This is not the concept. How our Rashtra evolved, that is very important. our Rashtra evolved not as a political entity, but with the sadhana, continuous efforts for uniting the people, developing some practices, developing the culture, and through that we establish a continuous process of Rashtra sadhana, and out of that we got such a great Rashtra, and is sustained for long years, thousands of years. And even because of that strength only, even after all invasions and troubled times, we could survive with the same identities as a Rashtra. And so that is very important when we are talking about the Nagrik Kartavya or the civic duties. So, when we see that people, if they dedicate themselves, if everyone devote themselves, then with the inclusion of the common people, then any Rashtra can evolve very powerful, maybe only powerful, and people, they may be militarily, economically, maybe very strong, but there are different histories about nations. There are so many countries world over, when they become strong, they have used their power to suppress. Like we can see America. When it got the power, they used the nuclear weapons. Some countries, they got the power, they started the slavery, and they put so many people, lakhs and crore people to the slavery, and they developed their colonies with very brutal rules. Some countries, because of their political power, or their ideologies like communists, they also have a very bad history. When the communist power, they gained the political power, they also were very brutal to their own people also, and to other nations also. Some countries, they gained the political power out of their religions. Those countries, they also have a very bad history. They have used their religion and power out of religion. So they use the power very badly against their own people and the people of different nations. So only by using contribution of the people for economic and political strength, that will also not make the Rashtra such a Rashtra that what we imagine that will be doing welfare to the other countries or the people world over, to the whole humanity. What we call Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam or Sarvepi Sukhinas Santu, Sarve Santu Niramaya. All these aims and objects of the Rashtra cannot be fulfilled only by this. And so, understanding about the Rashtra is very important. And when the people understand the Rashtra as the cultural entity, they identified that we are connected with a culture, that with the practice. They understand the essence of Rashtra, that we are connected. And there is a connecting thread. We may look different, but we have a connecting thread. And generation after generations, they develop that bonding. And that bonding, that creates a strong nation which can sustain for long years. And with that cultural essence or with the understanding of culture, then the citizens or the people what we don't call them subject, but the people or citizens, Nagrik, then they are not only responsible to the state, but they are equally responsible to the other citizens also in their day-to-day life. That's why in our tradition we have developed the different words. We call is that civic duties as kartavya. Kartavya, you can understand the duties, and dharma. So, dharma is a civic duty. Everybody goes by dharma, their own dharma. By dharma, what is expected from them, if they fulfill, they follow the dharma, that is a civic duty, that is a Nagrik Kartavya. And awareness about that Kartavya, about that dharma, that is Kartavya Bodh. Awareness about the citizens' duties. So, nowadays, there are some SDG goals by United Nations. There are some other memorandas or declarations, manifestos, they come. But understanding about dharma in our country, in our civilization, our Hindu dharma, that is very peculiar, and it is definitely to be understood. Commonly, we use the words like Pita Dharma, Putra Dharma, Vidyarthi Dharma, Shikshak Dharma, Guru Dharma, then Padosi Dharma, what we call neighbors, how we have to behave with our neighbors, that we call a dharma, that is also dharma. So, with any profession, dharma is connected. How they are expected to behave and fulfill their duties, that is expected. If you are a teacher, you have a dharma. If you are a student, you have a dharma. If you are a doctor, you have a dharma. Even if we are a Swayamsevak, we have a dharma. That we have to follow and we have to fulfill it voluntarily, not by compulsion of the state or the government or constitution, but by our own, because of our understanding about the dharma. And so, Father, Matru Dharma, Pitru Dharma, at every point there is a concept of dharma, that is concept of the duties. And so the whole structure is developed on the basis of dharma. So when in our Pancha Parivartan in Shatabdi Varsha, when we are talking about the Nagrik Kartavya Bodh, means actually we are proposing or taking the people to understand their dharma, what they are and how they have to perform their kartavya, their duties, that is their dharma. So, we have to understand this concept of Nagrik Kartavya or civic duties by our dharma concept. Otherwise, nowadays there will be CCTVs. People will write there, you are under the surveillance of CCTV. So, then people will say, there is a CCTV, so behave properly. But that is not. Because somebody is looking, there is a camera, then only my behavior will change. I will have a proper behavior. And if there is no CCTV, so behave like what you want. So, when only my relation is because of laws or rules or compulsions, then my behavior will be two types. When under surveillance, my behavior will be of one type. And not when surveillance is, I am out of surveillance, then my behavior will be different. But when we follow the dharma, then my behavior will not depending on the CCTV or laws or rules or compulsions or fine or some danda from the state. And so, when we want to build our country towards the prosperity, towards the strength, towards economic prosperity, and as a strong nation, Param Vaibhavam, in all walks of life, then we need, it is not just a physical or economical financial activity or physical activity or technological activity. If we want to sustain that, we need such people, such Nagrik, those who will follow the Dharma. Then our prosperity, our culture, everything will be sustained. And then only we can use our strength for the welfare of the others. Otherwise, our strength will also be Asur Shakti. We may gain the strength, power, muscle power, money power, military power. By all means, we may be very powerful. But our power will not be used for the welfare of our people and other nations. And for that, we need such people. See, our Shastras, they have talked much about Dharma. Dharma, when I use Dharma, it means Nagrik Kartavya. So, we know some very famous Sanskrit verse. Dharma is above all duties. Means, we may have sometime conflict about the duties. Like, I may like this thing, I want this thing, it is my personal liking, it is my personal need, something. But Dharma means caring for others, taking into consideration the welfare of all. Then, out of that, what you find your duty, that is Dharma. I was looking towards the environment. There is a beautiful explanation by Charak. Charak, you know, the he has his contribution for Ayurveda is very extraordinary. So he says there are Panchatattva. We know Panchatattva, Prithvi, Agni, Vayu, Akash, Jal. So he says when there will be a combination of this Panchatattva and everything is made of this Panchatattva. But when there will be a balance of Panchatattva, there will be a sixth Tattva, Shashta Tattvam. What is that Shashta Tattva? That is Ishwari Amsha. The Ishwari Amsha, you understand? So, there will be a Ishwari Tattva, God's Tattva. Then that Tattva will only arrive when Panchatattva will be in balance. If Panchatattva are not in balance, that Ishwari Tattva, that will not arrive. Or if it is there in our body, but we disbalance the Panchatattva, then that will leave. So when there will be a balance, then there will be a Ishwari Tattva and life. If we make the imbalance or disbalance, then that Ishwari Tattva will leave, then it will be dead. So he has given a very good concept. And it is not with only our body, it is with the environment also. If in our city we keep the balance of Panchatattva, then it will be a life in the city. If we made the chaos of Panchatattva, either water, fire, anything, we disbalance the Tattva, then life will go. Ishwari Tattva will go, then life will be chaos. Unbearable, very problematic. So he has explained, and so what is Nagrik Kartavya? What is the Dharma? Dharma is to keep the balance in your life, in your surrounding, in your family life, in your surrounding life. And for that, you have to rearrange your life, your lifestyle. That is Dharma. If you are not caring, then you are not following your Dharma, your duty. And because as you are not following, or many people are not following the duty, then it will be disbalance or unbalance, and then it will create a chaos. So Dharma goes and enters in every part of our life. So when we say about Nagrik Kartavya, it goes beyond. So what is our relationship? Like people say, like we are citizens or we the people in constitution we say. So what is our relationship with this Bharat Mata? So in our Shastras we say, Mata Bhumi Putroham Prithivya and Janani Janma Bhumishcha Sarvadapi Garyeshi. So it explains the relationship, that our relationship, this land is like a mother, Bharat Mata, and we are the sons and daughters of this Bharat Mata. That is our relation with this. It is not a constitutional relationship only, or only economical or our protection relation, no. It is not the point of only economic fairness or the only protection from the foreigners. No, that is not the only relationship with the state. So with this land, we take it as our mother, and as we are sons and daughters of this Bharat Mata, we have a first duty, Matru Bhumi Rakshan. To protect this land. That is the first duty of everyone. So when we say about what is the Kartavya of Nagrik, then whatever is needed, either I have to join army, either I have to be very alert in my personal public life. If I have to contribute for that, then that is my duty. And how I should be? I should be like a alert Rakshak, Jagruk Rakshak. That very cautious, very alert a citizen. That is my dharma, that is duty. Now, nowadays we are talking about our population. So, population, our Rigved talks about the population. They say, Bahu Prajana Rame Trutamba. Yani, it means that Ati Santan, yani extra Prajanan is not favorable for the country or the humanity. Simultaneously, disbalance, somebody is producing more, somebody is not, and that disbalance will create a trouble for the people. So it is a Rigved's contest, so we have to interpret in today's our situation. So there is a duty. So for Grihasthas, it is a duty that there should be a balance. And we are talking about Kutumba Prabodhan. Atharva Ved says, Anubrato Pita Ma Bhrata Bhrataram Dikshat. Means, परिवार में प्रेम सौहार्द सहानुभूति रहना चाहिए, ये राष्ट्र की नींव है. It means in our family there should be a very love, affection, cordial relationship and compassion for each other. So helping, caring nature in our family. And if family is a foundation of any nation. So families are like this, and so it is our dharma to keep and build our family in such a way that they will be a strong foundation and contributory families for building the nation. If they are contributory, then they will add to our Rashtraparam Vaibhav, our Rashtra Vaibhav. If they are not contributory, they are in problems, not loving families, then it will be a burden to the country. So, there are, in our Shastras, they are, in all our history, they are well explained about Dharma, Nagrik Kartavya. Like Mahabharata explains about the 4 Runa, 4 Runa. So they explained Pitaron ka Runa, Pitars, our ancestors, our forefathers. Then about the Devataon ka Runa, gods. Then they talk about the Rishiyon ka Runa, about the Rishis. and about the Manushya Karuna. So we have the 4 duties for us. So we have to continue the dharma, traditions, culture transferred from our ancestors. So we have to retain them and we have to nourish them. Simultaneously to sustain the Devata, that is continue the dharmic practices. That is also karma, dharma for us. And another is about respecting and taking care of the rishis. That is those who are devoted and fully devoting for the humanity, for the country, for the dharma. So for care should be taken of those people, of that institution. You can also call it as an education institution in modern times. And then Manushya Karuna. Yani you are not in isolation, so you have the responsibility to take care of the other human beings. So anybody in need of help, or you should always see, there was a very practice in our, I think I can say for before the 3-4 generations, that before taking a dinner or lunch, especially you have to look out of your home. If anybody you find who is not having a food, ask them, give them the food, then you can have a food. Now in our city life, it's very changed. But still, we can find out the ways how we can help the people, those who are in need. Institutional structure may be changed. There can be other ways and means to take care. There can be institutionalized ways to take care of the other people. And we have to build such type of institutions. And so, nowadays, now just Bihar election happened, and so many people, elections means so many things. So I think somebody told me that when election comes, whatever good, it will not come up, whatever the bad elements or bad habits or whatever negativity in the society, that will come up. So it is a such type of manthan that Amrut will come very less, but all type of Visha will come above. And so why this happen? Because, so here comes the duty of the citizen. So in Upanishad they say that Satya is a dharma, and Satya is dharma, dharma is Satya. Dharma is equal to Satya, Satya is equal to dharma. So when the truth goes out, then dharma perishes. And so for that, Satya is very important. And so Satya's power is very important. Our Shastra says the power of truth is very high. If you are true, you can even control the powerful kings also. Even powerful rulers can be controlled only by the truth, the dharma of truth, because that has the highest power. And so when people doesn't follow that dharma, then the rulers, political parties or bad leaders, some bad practices of the political parties, they control the people. So exactly we can apply this to any place in the present context. And so where it comes the dharma, that people have to understand the dharma. If they doesn't follow the dharma, they don't realize what is in the benefit of the country, what is in the benefit of the common people, what is in the benefit of the long term for the next generations, and they just follow what they need or what they feel for their today's comfort, or what they feel for their today's need, then they will be deviated from their dharma or nagrik kartavya. And then we will find there will be, when there is Satya goes out, then all bad people, they will be using the common people and they will be manipulating, they will be deviating from the Dharma. And then we will be in a very bad situation. So, Dharma Jagran, that is the awareness for Dharma and Nagrik Kartavya both among the all citizens is a Rashtra Karya. And that is needed in all times. There is one saying in our Shastra, they say that even if any bad person, even if he is very dear and near to me, but he should be त्याज्य, उसका त्याज्य होना चाहिए वो, he should be avoided. But in practical life, what people do, he is from my caste, he is from my community, he is from that, he is my relative, he is my something, my friend, and then they don't avoid those persons, even they support those persons, and then out of that, these dushta pravrutti people, bad people, they will overpower the society. So to be a free society, we have to follow the dharma. Of course, sometimes we have to use even the enemies also. Like the Vaidya use Vishwa as a medicine. So the good people can use enemies also. If they have some good thing, we can use them as a medicine for the solution of any problem. But this can only done by the society or people, those who are following and they are very much following the dharma. Otherwise, they cannot manage the wish. They cannot manage the enemy. And it will be boomerang to them. Instead of they handle the enemies will handle them. And it will be a very bad situation. In our day-to-day life, we see such type of instances. Because many people doesn't follow that type of activities. So there are so many things can be explained. And so in Yajurveda, they have mentioned about Nagrik Kartavya. How any citizen, they have the duty. So they say, Bhasha, Sanskriti and Bhumi Sanrakshan. Bhasha, they explain it as a knowledge. So protecting the knowledge of our ancestors, protecting the culture, traditions, practices, good practices, and the land, that is Bharat Mata. So I think perfectly all our text scriptures, they have mentioned very well about the Nagrik Kartavya. They are named it as a dharma. And so nowadays many people confused about what is Hindu dharma. So last week our Sarasanga Chalakji told Hindu dharma is one, but Hindu religions, they are not religion, it is a Hindu religions. There are so many religions of ways and practices. But dharma is one, that is Hindu dharma. And so, it is a duty of everyone. So, we should follow in our day-to-day practice. So, there can be so many issues in our daily life. There are some people only depending, as I explained, the government-centric or state-centric. So, for everything depending on the state. Nowadays, we are to some extent depending on the states for most of the things. And so, some small things which we can do, we will be asking for the government. Because in a village, if there is any school, people ask, whose school? It's a government school. No, it is a school of the villagers. It is a village ka school hai. गांव का स्कूल है, ग्रामस्य विद्यालयम, but people say government school. So it is a relationship with everything that is very important, relationship with the Rashtra. And so Nagrik Kartavya, it doesn't mean only the following the traffic rules or tax paying, but it is a proper dharma and it can be manifested or expressed in all walks of life or everywhere in our daily life. So like taking care of, helping the poor, taking care of the others, taking care to be alert for our safety, security, not for only me, but for the others, cleanliness, social discipline, using non-polluting vehicle, then so many people alerting to the national call, so contributing. So with any Rashtra, there can be gangs. From our childhood, we have heard about, we have learned the story of Ali Baba Chalistor. So there can be 40 thieves, they can come together, very strong gang, and they will loot something very strongly, very with big plans, very powerful. But just after the loot, their unity cannot sustain. They will fight among themselves. So it applies to nation also. People with good character, that is the basic need for unity and integrity of any nation. Otherwise, people are not maintained their good character, then they cannot control their greed. And they will fight among themselves on petty things. And so whatever you do, whatever prosperity you bring, whatever strength, money, whatever you bring to facilities, as people are not with the good character or high character, there will be always fight among them. And so what we say, dharma with the spirituality. So that is very important. Why our thousands of years our Rashtra sustained? Because there was lot of prosperity, samruddhi, sujalam, sufalam. But still people were living simple life. Still people were taking that it is not mine, it is for the society. Whatever is needed, that I will use, other I will be dhanam. Or using to help others. So that building of the character is very important. Without that, we cannot solve any issue. And so nowadays, because of different thinking, people thought that if prosperity comes, if higher education comes, then our society will prosper. It may prosper, but there will be infighting. We cannot sustain. And we can see such type of experiences in different countries world over, in different civilizations in the humanity. And so for unity, integrity, peace, sustained dharma, we need the people, those who are having the good character, and every family working on daily basis to establish or develop build the good characters, new citizens in every generation, generation after generation. So that is also our dharma as a Nagrik Kartavya. So in Western concept, there are three things. It is a state-centric, it is institutional, it is enforcement-based, and rather than the national values. And so, because for 300, 400 years, they developed institutions, and institutions were working for the common people. So they developed the trust in the institutions. Now we can see after 300, 400 years, in civic life, their institutions, they believed in their institutions because of that. And what happened here in the foreign rule, they developed the institutions which were not looking the welfare of the common people. So there was always conflict between the common people and institutions. And so we lived like that for 300, 400, 500 years. Because of that, there is a large level of mistrust. Even after independence, there is a large level of mistrust between the citizens and the institutions. So now it is the time to So there is always a question, first institutions will change or first people will follow the dharma. So every time you see, if you ask anybody about the corruption, they will say, what I can do, वो सब जगह है, करना ही पड़ता है. So because they will blame the institutions. So whether institution will change first or the citizens will change first. That is always a question. So we have to go simultaneously. We have to go simultaneously, reforming the institutions, and of course more and more people, if they follow dharma, insist on dharma, then institution will also change. And that is the only way for us. In West, though there were good institutions, the better trust, but they developed very strict fines. Nowadays, now in traffic rules, they will have cameras every time, and there will be heavy fines for everything. And because of that, they have developed different type of frustrations to deny any rule. Like out of that, there you can find the Wokism type or hippie movements like movements. They deny everything because institutions were not developed on the natural dharma, but they were developed on enforcement, heavy fines, heavy punishments. And so out of fear, people will do that. But when they are in trouble and they can't follow, then they will rebel. And out of that rebellism, we can find such type of destructive isms in West, we can see. And so we can't go by only with the heavy fines or heavy punishment that we will establish the civic duties or civic sensible life. That is not possible. So for that, we have to reach out to the common people, and with their dharma they follow, then only we can get such type of a nation we can visualize with such type of situation. And so now at this juncture, we need different type of public platforms, synchronization or some networking of the good people, those who are following the dharma. They are interested in following the civic duties. There are some institutions, smaller associations, like some education institutions, some social organizations, and some well-meaning people. We call them Sajjan Shakti. So there is a need for networking of those people. And when we network those people, generally, then we can see the change. Generally, what happens, I generally explain, we see that everything is bad, 90% things are bad, 90% things are corrupt. But that is not the thing always. Generally, what happens, 10% people, they will be always good. Everything is bad, then also they will be good. And 8-9% people will be always bad, even if there is a Ramarajya. They will be Ravana. So they will be. But what happens, in between 80-90% people, they will see कि किसका माहौल है, मतलब who is leading the show, who is more powerful, who is leading the show, किसका माहौल है. Then they will U-turn. If they are in that direction, and if good people, they create a good atmosphere, then these 80% people will U-turn. And then you will have a 90% good atmosphere, good practices, good institutions. So many times people say, nobody is following, why I should follow? Why I should do this? So even if minority follows the dharma very strongly, very few people, then also they have the power, as Satya has dharma as a very power. Then they can create the atmosphere where 90% people will follow them. And they will realize that it is a good way where we can live peacefully. And then it can, if it is sustained for long years, then it will become a practice. So now as our country, as a Bharat, we are moving forward. We are economically, we are becoming the third all over the world. And in all walks of life, technologically, we are improving a lot. And people are in the enthusiasm to contribute. So I think it is a high time to ask the people, to convey the people that it is their dharma, it is their civic duties are very important, and voluntarily following the civic duties, not by compulsion. And realizing their relationship with this Rashtra and the people in this Rashtra. They have the very strong bonding with them. When they find we have a strong bonding of centuries and centuries, eternal bonding, then they will realize the dharma, and then they easily will follow the dharma. So I think it is a high time. And so as good people have to take the lead to be more active and reach out to the good people, let them have a network and let the good people more and more active. And because of them, most of the people will be aware, will find the awareness about this, and they will also follow the same path. So I think this is the way towards our Param Vaibhavam and the role of the our Nagarik, our citizens, to make this country towards the Param Vaibhavam. Namaste, Bharat Mata ki Jai.